Let's talk about Haywood High School Baseball and its 2-year postseason ban. Is it unfair for the kids? What happened? Well, let's talk about the coach, Jeff Dusty Rhodes, that started it all. Strike one. In 2012, Coach Jeff Dusty Rhodes was fired by the Decatur County Board of Education after suspension on suspicion of misconduct at Decaturville Elementary School. News story is linked below. He was also the head coach of the Decatur County Riverside High School baseball team, and he lost that job due to the firing from another Decatur County board school. What's interesting is he's currently listed as a member of the Decatur County School Board that once fired him? Interesting. He also joined Hardin County High School as an assistant baseball and football coach, leaving in the summer of 2018 to join Haywood High School, which is out of the Decatur County Board's jurisdiction, so to speak. Strike two. Coach Rhodes was ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct, arguing an illegal pitch call. The hybrid stance is illegal in high school baseball. That's what it was about. More on the rule on closecallsports.com during the 2019 state tournament. It was a 2-minute tirade in which he kicked dirt, made physical contact with the umpire allegedly, and did other actions that appeared to be beyond the pale. Strike three. Pursuant to the Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association Handbook, Haywood High School has the first crack at disciplining its own coach. Haywood principal LaTanya Jackson released a statement that was kind of interesting because it said, "This is our first incident of this manner with Coach Rhodes, and this behavior is not typical for him. We feel that the suspension and fine from the TSSAA is adequate and will not add any extra games, but they'll make sure it won't happen again. The default per bylaw suspension and fine, that's a $250 fine. In this case, it's a 2-game suspension. That's the default. That's the bare minimum. It's up to the school to go further." Now, what's interesting about the statement is this better be Haywood's first incident of this manner with Coach Rhodes, seeing as 2019 was the coach's rookie season with the school. He better not have been ejected from any playoff games for Haywood prior to this, seeing as the sample size would be in the single digits. Now, the TSSAA looks at the school's proposal, looks at their statement, and says, "You guys aren't doing your job. This was a very serious incident, and Haywood isn't doing anything about it other than the bare minimum. That means that the TSSAA has to do it themselves. But the state handbook prohibits TSSAA from specifically disciplining a coach beyond the default penalty listed in the manual. In this case, 2 games and $250. It's up to the school to hand out supplemental discipline to an individual coach or employee guilty of egregious misconduct, and if the school fails to do its job, TSSAA's only recourse is to punish the program, because it can't punish the coach." And this hurts the kids, because if I'm a sophomore, a 2-year postseason ban means that without transferring, my final 2 years of high school ball at Haywood will be without any postseason. What the punishment is supposed to do is affect incoming classes. If I'm a middle school baseball player, I look at Haywood, I see the ban, and I say, well, maybe I'm going to go to a different school, because if I go to Haywood, I won't be able to go to the postseason. And for those saying that the TSSAA should just change their bylaws to allow them to discipline coaches, which could work, that's easier said than done. This is where Haywood also shoots itself in the foot in a roundabout way, because the bylaws are written, amended, and adopted by the member schools of the TSSAA. And who are the member schools? I'll give you one example. Haywood High School, which means that Haywood fails twice here. Once is years ago, when the TSSAA rules were first adopted, prohibiting the state from disciplining individual coaches, leaving that to the schools to do. And secondly, in May 2019, when the whole thing comes full circle and the school fails to impose supplemental discipline on Coach Rhodes, which the bylaws were written to encourage in the first place. So the school just said, we're not going to do anything, and the bylaws don't let the state do anything other than punish the program. So in failing to adequately address its rookie coach's misconduct for a coach that may not even be at the school next year, the school has failed its kids. And if indeed the coach does leave Haywood, whoever picks him up, just like Haywood, will hire someone with a history of misconduct and or suspected misconduct. It's all there on the internet somewhere, right? It's tough to feel bad for the programs themselves because they knew what they're getting into and they're willfully not acting. But It's unfortunate that the kids are getting hurt. We can feel bad for them because the grown-ups running the teams and the schools aren't taking any responsibility for their alleged wrongdoing, which means the state has to do what it has to do. And unfortunately, because of the schools, the state is really limited in what its abilities are. It needs to do something because Coach Rhodes' misconduct cannot go unpunished. It was so far out of line. And Rhodes even accused the umpire of wrongdoing after the game, and that has to be addressed. Unfortunately, unlike NC2A, it can't follow the coach from school to school, which is unfortunate. In high school, the program is liable for the misconduct of its employee. In this case, the coach was wrong, the school failed to discipline the coach adequately, so the state had to step in. That's bad, and if I'm a kid at the school, I'm pretty upset with the way the administration failed to deal with this problem. Be sure to check out closecallsports.com, subscribe to this YouTube channel, Close Call Sports, and check out the podcast for more analysis, rules, and umpiring updates from the world of baseball.